What is up, guys? Chris here with Cohesive Friendship Unit. Just me today. Big news, guys. No Man's Sky Beyond is finally out. We now have it in front of us. There's no mystery, and we're digging into it. And this video is going to be all about the VR component. This will not be the last No Man's Sky Beyond video. We are going to have videos on the online component and just on the update in general, so look forward to those. Good reason to be subbed to the channel. Another good reason is we're doing a giveaway at 850 subs, giving away a copy of Northgard on Steam. All you have to do is be subscribed. But enough of that, let's get right into it. So here we go. This is the Steam VR version. I did not play the PSVR version, and the footage is recorded on an Oculus Quest through ALVR because that captures the best footage in my opinion. It's just the easiest to capture. No issues for me. So that is where the footage is coming from for me recording this. Then something to note at the end of the video, I'm going to try to timestamp it somehow, either in the description or in a card. There's going to be a things you should 100% do for No Man's Sky VR. These are like settings that you should 100% tweak with, because at the moment they are not defaulted, and it could cause some issues, could cause some motion sickness issues, could cause various issues. Not the best experience unless you check out these settings. That's at the end of the video, or again, hit the link somewhere in the description. Alright guys, let's start with the pros. This is the dream. I bought this game on day one, and I remember I listened to a No Man's Sky podcast back in 2016, we were just kind of, the people were just dreaming, they were like throwing out their wildest fantasies for No Man's Sky, and one of them was VR, and I was like, oh my god, there's no way, it'll never happen, like what we're getting is already unbelievable, there's no way we'll ever get VR. Well, here we go. Turns out we got VR, guys, and it's here, and this is the full fat No Man's Sky VR. We're talking multiplayer, seamless planet to planet movement, building everything with or without your VR friends, and it's here. It is, and that is, I think, if we're going to say anything about this VR component of the update of Beyond, it is that the entire game is here. Even if the game is menu heavy with a keyboard and mouse, and it's even more, kind of cumbersome to navigate menus in VR, all of it is here. 100% of the game is here, and that is just really impressive. And just as far as VR goes, the game runs fairly well on Steam VR. Again, I'm using a GTX 1080, and it runs great. The settings are definitely pared way back, even on Ultra, so I think they wanted it to run great. And the scale is just unbelievably impressive. Like, my ship looks ridiculous. My buildings look huge. Things in it's just, this is the thing that VR can occasionally mess up, is the scale of things. Sometimes it looks a little wonky. Sometimes it just doesn't look right. They really nailed the scale in this game, guys. It is something. It is beautiful. I wish the draw distance was a little bit bigger. I assume that will be made a little bit better as time goes on, but for now it's awesome. It's awesome. That's all there is to say, guys. It is fun, and while I cannot say for sure if it is like how I will be playing No Man's Sky going forward, I can definitely say it is one of the reasons to buy a VR headset at the moment. Like, it is a killer app. It's an endless universe, I guess multiple galaxies, to explore at your whim. There's multiplayer with friends, there's quests, there's hours and hours of content. This is not done like Skyrim and Fallout 4 VR. This is much more care was given to this. It's not perfect, and we're going to talk about that. It is still a port of a PC/PS4 game, but this is a reason to buy VR, in my opinion. For hardcores and for casuals, for people who just want to walk around on planets, and for people who want to really dig into this game. So that's the good. I just want to get that out of the way. I'm happy. I had a great time playing the game. And during I'm particularly prone to motion sickness, and one of my big questions going into the game was, will I get motion sick? And I kind of promised myself I would take it easy this first time, or these first few times, and kind of dip my toes in the water. And yeah, there were moments when I felt but I could just close my eyes for those, and there's plenty of locomotion settings and all that, and never found myself getting significantly sick while playing No Man's Sky VR so far. But we will get into more details during the negatives, which I do want to highlight. There are negatives to this game, guys. It's not perfect. And the good news is it's things that can so easily be fixed. Like, it's something that, like, I feel like I could fix some of this, but let's get into it. The UI is like, or parts of the UI seem to be locked in one particular orientation, like your temperature meter and stuff. It could wind up behind you if you turn around and you start teleporting, and then you'll almost forget it's there until you turn around again. You'll be like, oh, there's that UI. I think they expected you to use the right stick to snap your turns. I personally move my actual body, so but again, I think that's something that could easily be fixed because they already have other components moving with you. Load screens are weird for VR, to the point where if I was using a teleporter or something, it would actually show like the Steam Home and the app and like the dots, and it would flash back and forth between you and the teleporter and like the home screen, which was really weird. I think it's just like the game's being pushed at that point. Again, something I would imagine that can be fixed. This one's actually kind of a bigger pet peeve of mine because of motion sickness. Your placement is actually reset when you interact with NPCs and things like teleporters. If you go to interact with them, your body will just be like moved to a random spot, usually right in front of them, but it might like turn you around or something, and you have to like reorient yourself to talk to them. I think this game was made with PSVR in mind, where you're not really supposed to fully turn your body around, and I think they don't really expect you to do this in the Steam VR game, but I know people, like, I prefer to physically turn around. It limits my motion sickness, so I might just have to get used to that. But it is annoying that you like black out for a second and are reset in front of NPCs. Again, that seems like something that could be fixed. You always have those occasional No Man's Sky glitches that can make you sick. I'm going to show you a clip of me launching my ship, which happened to spawn inside of my structure, and oof, that did not, I closed my eyes during that. Let me just say that. And not all movement is good for VR. Things like jetpacking, not super great for, that's a stomach churner. You're not going to be doing that a lot. Well, they do have movement options that are very good, like snap movements, teleport movements. Not all movement has been ported, and again, I'm not sure how they could how they could migrate something like a jetpack, but it's just not perfect. I wish you could almost like teleport up in the sky for a few seconds and teleport back down instead of doing the full jetpack. And physically crouching, it's not that it doesn't work, but when I like physically crouch low to the ground, it's telling me that my orientation is wrong, and like I wish it would. I would understand if like my face was on the ground, but I'm like probably 24 inches above the ground. I think they should give a little bit more leeway. Again, that just seems like a number that they could tick, or this far from the ground, show this message. But yeah, those are my impressions of No Man's Sky, guys. It's super, honestly, like, this is launching in such a good, very playable, very fun state. The negatives are minor in the grand scheme of all of the other stuff that you can do in VR. And I just want to talk about things that I think you should 100% do basically right when you boot up the game, because this again could have some motion sickness implications. You should set the game's frame rate to your headset's frame rate, and this is I can't give you the answer to this because almost every headset now has a different frame rate or refresh rate. But if you go into the settings, you can set, like, for example, the Oculus Quest has a 72 hertz panel, so you should try to set the frame rate to run at 72 hertz. mine stuck to my PC's default, which was 60, and it didn't detect. So if you're on like a Rift S, you should set it to 80. If you're on a Rift, 90. If you're on an Index, you know, you're gonna have to, depends on what you're actually physically running the headset at. But that could be a problem if the game's rendering at 60 frames per second, but you're only seeing 72. It was actually making me kind of ill until I fixed that, because I was essentially playing the game at a bad frame rate for VR. Next, you should definitely pump up those graphics. Again, I had my graphics preset to ultra on normal PC. I went into this, and I'll show you a clip of what it looked like, but it just looks like absolute garbage in whatever preset. I think it was enhanced or something. I switched everything over to ultra, and while it's still pared back, I think it's definitely better. Next, I would smooth out the flight controls and check out all the locomotion controls. If you go into the control settings, the flight stick seemed too sensitive to me personally. Like it was on the edge. If you're prone to motion sickness, I would make the flight controls a little less jarring. And check out all the locomotion controls, because they have snap movement and teleport, and both of those are actually really good implementations of the two. And the last thing I would do is pump up the FOV. I maxed out the FOV. That's something that is kind of known to cause motion sickness, or depending on like who you are, if you get claustrophobic, it might be good to up the FOV. But that's it, guys. Again, we're gonna have so much more No Man's Sky Beyond. We need to play the online component a lot more together as a group, and go through the patch notes and kind of investigate all the other stuff in there before we can draw any more conclusions. But for now, this was VR. Hope you enjoyed the video. I will catch you guys next time.